So what's the end game of that? What's the end result of the global compact?
So it's a globalization agenda, of course, and I personally see a more sinister agenda at hand.
What do you mean?
Okay, so we're seeing nothing but military-aged males come in, unfortunately. Yes, we have children coming in. A lot of unaccompanied children are actually coming in. That is a fact. But what we're also seeing here is a large influx of military-aged males. So that is something really to be concerned about. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these people aren't just taking this treacherous journey walking or coming on bus. Unfortunately, we've been doing some real investigative work, and we're now figuring out that these people are actually being flown in from countries such as Dominican Republic. Some people are being flown in from Guatemala, and they're being brought in straight into cities like San Antonio, Brownsville, places in Louisiana as well. So it is just a huge influx of individuals, and this is just the small things that we're able to witness. I'm just one person, you're just one person, so we're only able to cover small portions of it. The other night we had right under 1,000 illegal aliens in just one particular location. At this rate, how much more can the United States actually continue to take in without it really affecting us?
Well, yeah, and you're looking at potentially 2 million immigrants into the United States. That changes the whole demographic makeup of the United States, but for the worse?
I know that there is a lot of great people that deserve that opportunity. A lot of people are looking for a hand up and not a handout, and that's something we have to understand. But at the same time, a country with no borders is not a country at all. The floodgates are completely open. Anybody's coming in, and right now they're trying to force this medical tyranny on the U.S. citizens, and trying to force them into compliance with wearing masks and taking these jabs, taking the vaccination. But unfortunately, all while importing a third world class of citizens, one, that don't speak the language, two, they have a lot of no work skills and no social skills. So it's going to be extremely hard for them to survive out here. Now, in our immigration court system is backed up 6 years right now. A lot of these individuals are currently being released with no court date in mind or any court date for them to return. Now, in those next 6 years, these individuals cannot legally work because they're here on an asylum pretense, waiting these next 6 years just to be heard by a judge to see if they qualify for political asylum. In those 6 years, they can't work. I can't stress that enough. So these next 6 years, they're going to need medical, they're going to need housing, they're going to need food, their children are going to need an education. And guess where all of that is going to come from? The U.S. taxpayer. When was the last time you saw our U.S. veterans be taken care of just in this manner? Never.
Do you believe that the social services of the United States will be overly burdened by the influx of immigrants? Is that what you're
Absolutely. That is their end game. We have to look at history here. How did Venezuela, a country that was set to surpass the United States, a country so rich in minerals, is now succumbing to the tyranny that they're living under right now? Exactly what is happening in Venezuela is happening here in the United States. We're just behind on the timeline, but we are set to become something like what happened to Venezuela, something to what's happened in Cuba. A lot of people depend on these food drives, these food banks that a lot of these Catholic charities, a lot of these churches are giving out. This is no less than breadlines, conditioning people into socialism, needing additional help, waiting for that handout. We see people not wanting to work currently in the United States. So all of this comes together. It's a huge agenda. It's been in the works. It's been brewing for many years, and people are finally barely waking up. But unfortunately, this is moving much faster than what we're waking up.
Are the border patriots like Oscar El Blue, like Anthony Aguero, are they endangered by the cartels which run and operate this as a global criminal enterprise?
Look, yes, we received death threats constantly, and we know that this is dangerous what we're doing, and we know that at any given moment things can take a turn for the worst. but at the same time, I'd rather live on my feet. I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees.
It's a pretty dangerous deal that you've made with the devil there.
I understand that, but I feel that America needs to know what is happening. The mainstream media does a phenomenal job keeping the American citizens in the dark, and so this is why we're out here trying to educate the rest of the country as far as what's going on down here.
Where did Anthony Aguero get this view? Did your parents, for example, do they feel the same?
You know, I'm a first-generation American, and so when I see this instant gratification, you know, something worth getting, somewhere worth going, it's not going to be easy. And we've become a country that everybody gets a participation trophy. Look no further than the Olympics just recently. You know, they say we owe nothing to the United States, and I'm just like, okay, everybody gets a participation trophy. That's what it's gonna be like. And so, like I said, me as a first-generation American, I saw family members go through the struggle of having to learn proper English, basic history, and sacrifice away from their families, scraping up to the last penny to make their American dream happen. What we're seeing right now is the American dream being watered down. They're cheapening the American dream, and unfortunately we're importing the third world. Where do American citizens run to when all of this is concluded? We have nowhere to run to. You import the third world, you become the third world. And for first generation Americans like myself, it's a slap in the face. It's a slap in the face because I saw family members, like I said, have to do real sacrifice, and it's really disheartening to see. This is not immigration, this is in fact an invasion.
Are more Hispanic Americans, more Mexican nationals, more Honduran, El Salvador, Nicaraguan nationals, are they beginning to feel as you do, in your view?
Many Hispanic Americans, Latino Americans, first generation Americans that have families over here are completely and totally against this illegal migration that we're witnessing.
But wait a minute. Anthony Aguero is just being political about this.
Absolutely not. I'm just pointing out the blatantly obvious. We have to recognize history, we have to study history, and we have to realize that what they're doing right now is a play is a play out of the playbook, you know, and it's been done throughout history numerous times. Open migration, as we are witnessing here, is a destruction. Look no further and look up the definition of colonization, and colonization will tell you everything that you need to know as far as what's happening.